In the previous video, we have considered why Fourier transform is used and how Fourier transform is used for signal processing. And the Fourier transform normally converts a signal in time domain to frequency domain signal. Normally, the continuous time Fourier transform and the continuous time Fourier series deals with continuous signals, and in the case of the continuous time Fourier series only deals with the continuous periodic signals, and the continuous time Fourier series converts the continuous periodic signal in time domain to continuous periodic signal in the frequency domain. And the continuous time aperiodic signals have also to be converted to the frequency domain signal. So for that purpose we will use the continuous time Fourier transform, which will the continuous time Fourier transform converts the continuous periodic as well as aperiodic signals in the time domain to continuous periodic frequency domain signals. Now we can also consider the equation of the continuous time Fourier transform. The signal here we are dealing with is an infinite signal which is given by x of t, and the continuous time Fourier transform, the transformed signal which is now in the frequency domain, which is given by x of f, which is equal to integral minus infinity to infinity. As we are dealing with an infinite signal, we are integrating from minus infinity to infinity. We are integrating it with x of t, which is a signal under consideration, into e raised to minus j 2 pi f into t dt, and we can replace this by omega also. Consider this e raised to minus j 2 pi f into t, which can also be written as e raised to minus j theta, and by Euler's identity we will get e raised to minus j theta is equal to cos theta minus j sin theta. So here we can see that the x of f, which is equal to which will be a complex valued function, and we will get a magnitude and phase part for this equation of x of f, which is the a frequency domain signal converted from the continuous time domain signal by using the continuous time Fourier transform. Just keep in mind of this equation and the fact that we are obtaining a complex valued function, which will be discussed further. And for the processing of the signal by digital way, that is for the digital processing of the signal, we have to use the discrete signal, or we have to consider the discrete signal. So for the analysis of the discrete signal, we have to convert the discrete periodic signal. The discrete periodic signal, that is x of n, this is a discrete signal, is converted to a discrete periodic frequency domain signal by the discrete Fourier series. But we have also consider the aperiodic signal also, which comes in the case of practical cases. So for that purpose we are using the discrete time Fourier transform, which will convert both the periodic as well as aperiodic discrete time signal in the time domain, that is x of n, is converted into continuous periodic frequency domain signal, that is which is represented by x of e raised j omega. The major drawback of the discrete time Fourier transform is that it is converting a discrete periodic or aperiodic signal in the time domain to a continuous periodic frequency domain signal. We require a discrete periodic frequency domain signal for the digital processing, but what we are getting is a continuous periodic frequency domain signal. So for the further processing of the signal, we have again to convert this continuous periodic frequency domain signal to digital form by again using an analog to digital converter, which adds more burden or more complexity to our digital signal processing hardware, so the cost also increases. Because of this drawback, we are moving to the discrete Fourier transform, which is the discrete Fourier transform, which is under our the consideration in our module. So this discrete Fourier transform will convert the discrete periodic as well as aperiodic signal in the time domain to discrete periodic frequency domain signal. So here the discrete periodic as well as aperiodic signal is directly converted to discrete periodic frequency domain signal. So we do not require any sampling is again not required in the case of discrete Fourier transform. Also, we can obtain the discrete Fourier transform of a signal if we sample the discrete Fourier transform of the same signal. Okay. Once more, we can obtain the discrete Fourier transform of a signal from the discrete time Fourier transform of that signal after sampling of the signal. അതായത് ഡിസ്ക്രീറ്റ് ടൈം ഫോറിയർ ട്രാൻസ്ഫോമിനെ ഡിസ്ക്രീറ്റ് ടൈം ഫോറിയർ ട്രാൻസ്ഫോം ഒരു സിഗ്നലിൻ്റെ ഡിസ്ക്രീറ്റ് ടൈം ഫോറിയർ ട്രാൻസ്ഫോമിനെ സാമ്പിൾ ചെയ്ത് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ വി വിൽ ഗെറ്റ് ദ ഡിസ്ക്രീറ്റ് ഫോറിയർ ട്രാൻസ്ഫോം. സോ ഈ ഒരു സാമ്പിളിംഗ് പ്രൊസീജിയറിൻ്റെ കോംപ്ലക്സിറ്റി ഒഴിവാക്കാൻ വേണ്ടിയാണ് വി ആർ അപ്ലൈയിങ് ദ ഡിസ്ക്രീറ്റ് ഫോറിയർ ട്രാൻസ്ഫോം, സോ ദാറ്റ് വി വിൽ ഗെറ്റ് the discrete periodic frequency domain signal directly from the signal under consideration. So before moving to the discrete Fourier transform we can consider the discrete time Fourier transform also. In the case of the discrete time Fourier transform, the equation is given by x of e raised to j omega, which is given by the converted signal in the frequency domain. The representation of the converted signal in the frequency domain is given by x of e raised to j omega, which is equal to sigma n is equal to minus infinity to infinity x of n e raised to minus j omega n. This is an equation similar to that of the previous continuous time Fourier transform. In the case of the continuous time Fourier transform, instead of this summation, there is an integral from minus infinity to infinity and instead of this x of n, the x of t is there, which is the continuous signal under consideration, and e raised to minus j omega n. That is the same as before. So we are obtaining the equation for the DTFT, the operation for DTFT from the previous continuous time Fourier transform, and the discrete time Fourier transform will exist only if the summation of the x of n, that is the signal under consideration, the discrete signal under consideration, the summation of this discrete signal under consideration should be less than infinity, that is it should be a finite value. And as I have told before, the e raised to minus j theta will give, this factor will give a complex value as the output of the DTFT. So we are getting a frequency spectrum, and we can obtain a magnitude spectrum and phase spectrum from this x of e raised to j omega. That is, x of e raised to j omega can be written as a real part and imaginary part, and that is from that complex value we will get a magnitude, and if we plot the magnitude with the frequency, we will get a magnitude plot or magnitude spectrum. And if we plot this phase with frequency, we will get a phase plot, and this is commonly called the frequency spectrum. Okay, this gives the basic idea of all the transforms before moving to the discrete Fourier transform, and in the next video we can deal with the discrete Fourier transform also.